So we actually have a Google Form survey that's branded for the podcast, and I think at this point we probably have about 9 to 10 questions, because we don't want to ask too many questions where someone's like, oh my gosh, this is so, I don't feel like doing this extra work. So we try to find 9 to 10 questions, right, that we ask. And we start with a really fun question, and then we go into some of the demographic information. So we want to learn about their location, some of their favorite products, right? How can we make the podcast 10% better? How much of the podcast they listen to. And I find that this survey is so valuable for us. Literally, if we have a brain fart, we can go into the survey, get the data, create an episode that speaks to whatever trends that we see. But it's also really valuable because when we pitch sponsors, we now have data and analytics that speak to, oh, we have 96% of our listeners are Black women, right? 95% are in the US, although we have a global reach, right? 50% listen to 100% of the podcast, right? So we have data that we can use to offer value to our sponsors as well. So what we've done is we've added the survey to the link in our bio. We also talk about the survey on our podcast episodes. And the way that we frame it is, hey, we've given you, if you've gotten value from the podcast, right? If you've gotten any value, we would love for you to give us some value back, right? And speak to us. This is a conversation. That's what we typically say. This is a conversation. So feel free to go to our website, click on this link, and let us know more about you. And so we promote that in the episodes, again, in our link in bio, sometimes in our stories, or we personally reach out to folks. So we're in the DMs, either sending videos or voice notes to make it more personable and to let folks know we're really interested in creating more content for you. And we find that our listeners, they do show up and they want to tell us this is what I'm dealing with. This is what's going on in my life. And again, it's a gold mine. You'd be so surprised how people respond and what they will tell you about themselves that you can go and create content for, right? That'll be beneficial to everyone that listens. I do want to say many people are also waiting for us to give them a next step or a call to action. And so I would highly recommend, in every episode, at least have something that you want your listeners to do. We were doing some green room episodes, Spotify's platform, and one of the things that we did, just testing things out, we told our listeners as they listened, we're like, hey, if you got to the end of this episode, go to our Instagram and drop some green hearts in the chat. And so randomly throughout the week, I would just see people posting green hearts, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. They literally took the time to follow us on social media, add the green hearts, and that way we kind of had this insider with them, okay, you dropped the green hearts, I know that you listened till the end, and then we respond to them in the comment section. So little fun things like that is always cool too, to see what resonates most with your particular audience.